Boys and ladies, if you are there, we finally had a very good day. As you guys can see on the screen here, $75 in profit. Not only that, I made yesterday's recap a little bit too early. I'm not super proud of how everything turned out because I did do a little bit of revenge trading in the end of the day, but I went from being down about $50 to being back up $38. 51 trades, that's a lot of trades. My accuracy though went from 36% all the way back up to 53%. And then today, 17 trades total and 65% win-loss ratio, which feels so good to just kind of be back in the game a little bit. But what's super crazy today, as you guys can see, this stock that went up over 2,000, I think 3,000% at one point. I mean, look at this. Look, it started off down here at around $2 and it peaked out at $55. Absolutely crazy. I saw Ross Cameron on stream this morning. The guy pulled in like 130 grand and then gave back half of it. But absolutely crazy. I wish I could have got in on it. Pretty much all of those moves happened pre-market from what I could tell, which, you know, I am still trying to stick with my rules when it comes to pre-market trading. I am still not dabbling with it. I basically only trade from like 9:30 to 10 o'clock. Like if we look at my trade charts today, my first trade today, actually wait, let me just filter this to just today. My first trade today was at 9:34, just after market open, and I was out by 10:11. I'm always pretty much 9:30 to 10. I find when I start trading after 10 o'clock, once the volatility dies down, because of my method, I'm basically, like I've talked to you guys a little bit about before, I am basically just doing, I think, micro scalping, or I think that's what you would basically call it. I'm still learning all of this, and I'm just using this YouTube channel to document everything that I do so that I can look back and find things. If people watch it, great. If they don't, that's totally fine. But basically what I've been doing, you know, is I've been watching, well, actually, let me see if I can, let me pull up, so like MMA, let me just pull up a stock here real quick so that I can kind of show you guys basically what I'm doing. Go down to the, these are only going to show me on 1 minute charts, and I trade off of 10-second charts. Do I have, actually I can show you on this chart right here. Okay, this is the Warrior Trading dashboard. I am a Warrior Trading member currently. Let me go down to the 10-second chart here just so I can show you guys. If you haven't seen a 10-second chart before, like a lot of people trade off of like 1 or 5 minute charts, 10-second charts, total freaking game changer. So basically my trading strategy that I've been doing for a while, let's come, actually what time was I trading this stock at? Let's see if we can just look at the exact time. So I was trading this at 9:54. So 9:54. Okay, yeah, I was actually right when this jump happened here. So my trading strategy currently, what the hell did I just do? Right here, right? Yeah, okay. No, it's 9:51. Okay. Oh, it actually started down here. Yeah, my first trade was a loss, and it was probably somewhere right around here or so. But basically what I've been doing, I buy in. I don't buy in early at all. I only buy in when a 10-second candle crosses the previous high of the last candle. So like if we zoom in here, let's say I'm watching this ticker here, it's coming down, it looks like it's about to do a reversal. So I am watching for a 10-second candle to break a previous high. So like here I would have been probably looking somewhere around this mark here is a level of, you know, of previous resistance. Like, you know, these candles here topped out right around, my pricing is screwed up. It's doing it in volume on the side. That's annoying. I don't know how to fix that. Anyways, getting sidetracked here, but basically what my strategy is I am waiting for any candle to break that line of resistance, and the second it does, like the second it does, I have a hotkey set up, I'm buying in, and I'm not often riding these anywhere near the top. I'm often buying out or selling out way too freaking early, which, yes, I know that hurts me in the long run because I'm giving up profits, But I have found if I stay in longer and I'm trying to be like, oh, when is this going to top out and dip down? Whenever I do that, without a fail, I always end up losing money. So typically what I would do is I would say buy in here. I would ride this candle up, you know, to about halfway, and then I'd let it finish its run up, and then I'd let it die down again, and then I'd be looking at the next 10-second candle, and I would be waiting for this 10-second candle that we see right here to pass this previous candle high, and the second it does, I buy in, and then I ride that up, and same thing, sell out early, and then I'm waiting for that next entry point. And I do that over and over and over again, and that is why my win-loss ratio is often pretty close to like the mid 50s, because I am, with this strategy, I try to make it so that my losses are very small. Like if you look at my losses here, this one was kind of big, $16, but 4, 1, 6, 5, 2, all very small losses. When I buy in, if something does not immediately just keep going up, if I'm not immediately in the green, I'm getting out of there. So as you can see though, you know, again, 16, 4, 1, 6, 5, 2, all very small losses. I'm getting out as soon as possible. And then on the upside, 12, 24, 6, 4, 7, 5, 9, 9, 8, 1, 24. So overall, my green trades are a lot bigger than my red trades, and that is how it makes it okay for me to have such a 50-50 essentially shot of being right. I have been doing this strategy for, well, we're coming up on 2 weeks now. The first week I did it. Let me just extend this out a little bit here so you guys can see some more of this data. So I also screwed up when I did my first trade review. I had imported data like 2 or 3 times, and TradeViz is supposed to be smart enough to get rid of all the duplicates, but it turns out it wasn't. So some of my numbers are a little bit different. My loss is still as bad as my loss was. That was such a painful day. But like last week, I thought I was in the green because these first Tuesday and Wednesday days, I thought that they were bigger than they actually were. But this is accurate of my trades for this month. And then if you guys want to see last month real quick. So here I was trying to trade a opening range breakout strategy. And it was my first 2 weeks of trading, and I was super emotional. You guys probably saw that whole in my first video, me going over all that. I was dollar cost averaging when things were going down. Super bad practices for the style of trading that I was doing. Like when I was losing, I was just doubling down, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And that's how I ended up with these. Just my worst day ever was my second day trading. So this was just selling extra stuff that was in my account. $174, my worst day ever on my second day. Clearly, I was emotional, wasn't thinking straight, so I was trying this opening range breakout strategy on the 15-minute candles there. Then I was like, this isn't working. After 10 days of trying it, I said it wasn't working, which I know you need more back testing that to really be able to tell if something's right, but I just wasn't having luck with it, and I'm the kind of person that, like, if something is not immediately working, I'm done. Get me out of there. I don't want any part of this. So then this last week of last month, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going in super small share sizes. Like, as you can see, my volume, 1,000, 450, 100, 300, 400, only 4 trades, 2 trades, 1 trades, 5, 7, very small amounts of volume going through. But I was looking for what I thought was an A or an A+ quality setup. And when I did that, as you can see, I was in the green. I was managing my losses. I was making sure that I was out of there long before the stock started to dip. I would buy in at those new peaks. Literally sometimes I was doing it with like 10 shares. Like it was very small. So that was what I was doing. And I was like, hey, 5 days in the green, let's keep going. And that brought us into this month, which last week should have been a good week, but I got stuck in a halted stock. And I had too many shares. I usually trade with 50 shares. Today, because the market was so hot, I did trade with 100 share quantities, but typically I'm always going in with 50, especially at the beginning of the day, to try to get my feet wet and see if I can build a little bit of a buffer. But I was in here with, 100, 200 shares at times, and the stock got halted and it resumed way lower and just totally wiped me out for the day. But, ignoring that, I was like, okay, but this is working. My accuracy, 55, 61, 60. Those are all pretty good, especially with this micro scalping strategy. Because like I said, you don't have to be right 70% of the time to be profitable. As long as you're getting out the second you're in drawdown, like you're down $5, get out of there. You don't want no part of that stock anymore. And then wait, see if it makes that new high. When it does, buy in quick. That would be, I trade on E-Trade Power, and it's a pretty bad platform, but it's what I already had set up. So that's just what I've been rolling with recently. Where was I going with this? You know, I would probably do better with my strategy on like light speed or something that is just a little bit better. Sometimes I will put in a buy order, and like for the most part, I put in a buy order within a second it's filled. But I have had times when I have put in a buy order and it's been like 3 to 5 seconds. And in 3 to 5 seconds, sometimes that's as long as I'm in a trade is 3 to 5 seconds. So that is really painful for me. And I'm trying to figure out if I should be switching platforms right now with this current strategy I'm doing. But I don't know. Everything's just been kind of working for the most part. I'm profitable. So I think I'm just going to stick with E-Trade Power for now. But I do plan at some point to get out of this. Let me grab a sip of this coffee real quick. Other than that though, today I'm trying to make these videos so that I'm not going back and reviewing previous days, but I wanted to talk to you guys about yesterday. I ended up going back like a whole month. I'm sorry, excuse me. Yesterday, like I said, I was in $50 in the red in the morning, and usually I try, like if I'm like down 25 bucks, I'm like, I'm out for the day, screw this. But yesterday I got emotional. I wasn't following my rules. That's what all of this seems to come down to. If you just follow your rules, it's pretty, I don't want to say this because I feel like I'm going to jinx myself, but it's pretty hard not to be right about most of your trades and make some money as long as you follow your rules. And you'll see that from pretty much every trader. The second that you start like, you know, just getting emotional about things, forget about it. You're going to give back all the money you ever made in your life at some point in time. But yesterday I got back in later in the day. I'm not super proud of how I made back the money just because I should have been out and I should have been done for the day. But it was after lunchtime. I had a few minutes, jumped on, and I was able to go from $50 in the red to $38 in the green with quite a few trades. I mean, that's more trades than I've had all month at 51. And probably more volume. Yeah, and more volume. So it was just not super proud of how I made that money back, but I think that, you know, sometimes we make mistakes. That mistake happened to work out in my favor, but I just as well could have gone, you know, $38 more in the red and been at $90 down, which would have been just not a good way to end the day and would have really stressed me out and would have made going into today that much more stressful. I'm a very emotional person. This YouTube channel being called The Emotional Trader is literally me. I am an emotional trader, and I'm trying to cope with all of it and trying to figure out how to get through this, because I know there's so many people out there just like me who are super emotional traders, are dollar cost averaging on the way down and just blowing accounts left and right. So I am trying to learn all of this and trying to like just, you know, build it all in my head properly, share some of it on YouTube. If I can, like, you know, if anyone learns from any of this, learns from my mistakes, that's all good. You know, it's easy to see a lot of these big traders out there on YouTube who are having, you know, $50,000 day, $100,000 day. You know, it's easy to look at those and, you know, think you can do it. And while you can, if your emotions are not right, you're going to give all of your money to the market. So it's all about managing your emotions, and that's what I've been trying to do. But today, $75 in the green. There were stocks out there up over 3,000% this morning. Oh, excuse me. Absolutely crazy. I didn't even trade that stock. But the stocks I did trade up $75 today. That is my biggest green day ever, which feels really good. Obviously the market was hot today. There's probably a lot of people making good money today, as you guys, as you'll see from Ross's stream, or Ross's, you know, trade review that he does at the end of the day. You know, I think he was up like 80 grand or something like that by the time it was all said and done. So a lot of people out there making money, but my biggest green day ever feels really good. It all came down to not trying to get into the stocks early. Sometimes I have a hard time doing that. You know, if it's like 5 cents from where it's going to cross line of a new high, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get in a little bit early, and then just doesn't work out like ever. So I waited for those stocks to make new highs on the 10-second candles. I made sure I was getting out early, overall, just, you know, managed my emotions very well today. And it felt really good. So that's it for this video. I'll see you guys tomorrow with our next review. Peace.